Your soulmate is thinking about you right now. This feeling is not one-sided. I want you to take a deep, grounding breath and feel the heavy, electric stillness settling into the very marrow of your bones right now. Because we are stepping into the opening of this massive, high-intensity journey where the veil between your thoughts and their reality finally dissolves into nothingness. For a long time, you've been sitting in the quiet of your own room, wondering if the sudden warmth in your chest or the phantom scent of their skin was just a trick of your lonely imagination. Questioning your sanity and asking the universe if you are the only one carrying the weight of this connection, while they move through their life as if you never existed. But today, the divine is stepping in to shatter that illusion once and for all, because you have to understand that in a connection of this magnitude, there is no such thing as a one-sided frequency. If you are feeling a sudden, sharp tug in your solar plexus at this exact moment, it is because at this very microsecond, they have dropped a glass, stopped a conversation, or pulled their car to the side of the road, because your face just flashed before their eyes with the force of a physical blow. They are realizing today that they are no longer the master of their own mind. And as they sit in a crowded room or a busy meeting trying desperately to look normal and composed, internally, they are being hit by a telepathic tidal wave of your presence that they can no longer suppress or ignore. They are experiencing the invisible echo, where every prayer you have whispered into the night and every tear you have shed in the silence is currently manifesting as a heavy, suffocating pressure in their own chest, making it impossible for them to breathe without thinking of your name. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, feeling the weight of your energy pressing against their spirit like a physical hand. Realize today that the important something they have been trying to outrun for months has finally caught up to them in the most aggressive way possible. They are not just thinking about you. They are inhabited by you, occupied by your essence, haunted by the memory of your touch to the point where their ego is literally screaming for mercy. Every time they close their eyes to rest, your laugh is the soundtrack playing on a loop in their mind. And every time they try to imagine a future without you, the color drains out of the room and the air turns cold. They are realizing today that they are the receiver to your transmitter. And there is a heavy, reciprocal ache vibrating in their DNA that tells them this is not just a memory they can delete. It is a shared gravity that is pulling them back to the center of your soul. If you are falling for them, they are currently plummeting toward you. If you are longing for them, they are currently starving for you. Realize today that the one-sided lie they told themselves to stay safe has been completely incinerated by the heat of this mutual soul fire. They are standing in the middle of their life, surrounded by people who do not know their heart is breaking, feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea because they finally understand that they are not just remembering you, they are echoing you. And the sound of your soul is becoming so loud in their ears that it is drowning out every other voice in their world. They are realizing today that the connection is not just alive. It is a living, breathing entity that has taken over their nervous system, making them realize that no matter how much distance they put between your bodies, their soul is currently locked in a room with yours, and they have finally lost the key to get out. I want you to feel the heavy, claustrophobic pressure of an uninvited guest moving through the corridors of their mind right now. Because we are stepping into the deep, high-intensity reality of the mental intrusion that is currently paralyzing your soulmate. For months, they believed they were the masters of their own thoughts, building a fortress of logic and distractions to keep your image outside the gates, telling themselves that they could simply choose to stop thinking about you if they tried hard enough. But today, they have realized that their mind is no longer their own. You have become the silent architect of every thought they possess, occupying 90% of their internal real estate without ever saying a single word. Imagine them sitting in a meeting, staring at a screen, or trying to hold a conversation with someone else, only to find that your voice is the subconscious soundtrack to every sentence they hear, making it impossible for them to focus on the world in front of them because the world inside of them is completely saturated with your frequency. They are realizing today that the mental armor they spent so much energy constructing has been completely bypassed by your soul, and they are feeling a wave of absolute intellectual defeat as they realize that even their most private thoughts are now a dialogue with you. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, trying to shake your image from their mind, only to have it return with the force of a physical impact, making their chest tight and their breath catch in their throat. They are experiencing the failure of the ego's shield. Realize today that the important something they tried to suppress is now the only thing that feels real, turning their distractions into hollow, meaningless background noise that only highlights how empty their life has become without your presence. Every person they talk to, every task they complete, and every plan they make for the future is being filtered through the lens of your absence, making them feel like an uninvited guest in their own life, because they are mentally living in a past where you were still by their side. They are realizing today that this mental intrusion is not just a phase or a passing thought, but a permanent spiritual occupation that is draining their energy and forcing them to confront the truth they tried to bury. If you are sitting in the silence of your own power, feeling a sense of calm and detachment, it is because you have subconsciously transferred all of your longing into their mental space, leaving them to carry the weight of the what-ifs and the could-have-beens that used to keep you awake at night. They are feeling a heavy, exhausting mental hunger. Realize today that they are starving for a single moment of peace that can only be found in your forgiveness. They are standing in the middle of their own mind, surrounded by the ghosts of the words they never said to you, feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea because they finally understand that the only way to get you out of their head is to let you back into their heart. They are realizing today that their ego has officially lost the war, and the mental noise has become a rhythmic, pulsing chant of your name that is vibrating through their entire nervous system, making them realize that they are no longer running away from you. They are currently being hunted by the very love they tried to ignore. I want you to feel the heavy, sensory weight of an invisible presence pressing against the very skin of your soulmate right now, because we are moving deeper into a high-intensity state of sensory overload that is making their physical reality feel like a haunting. For months, they convinced themselves that if they could just stop looking at your pictures or stop checking your social media, your essence would eventually evaporate from their nervous system. But today, they are realizing that your frequency has bypassed their eyes and ears and has settled into their very pores. Imagine them walking through a crowded street or standing in a quiet room and suddenly catching a scent in the air that belongs only to you. A phantom fragrance of your hair, your skin, or the specific laundry detergent you use, hitting them with such a visceral, nostalgic force that it makes their knees weak and their hearts skip a beat. They are realizing today that their body has a memory of its own. A skin memory that is currently screaming for the literal, physical vibration of your touch, making their own skin feel like a cold, empty cage that can no longer be comforted by anyone else. They are experiencing a physical manifestation of your absence that is turning their everyday life into a minefield of triggers, where every song on the radio sounds like a coded message from your higher self, and every stranger's laugh sounds like an echo of the joy they threw away. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, perhaps sitting in their car or lying in their bed, feeling a sudden, unexplained chill or a rush of heat through their chest that makes them gasp for air, because they can literally feel your energy brushing against theirs in the spirit realm. They are realizing today that the important something they tried to ignore is now a biological necessity, as their heart rate spikes and their palms sweat every time they see a car that looks like yours or hear a name that starts with the same letter as yours. They are feeling a heavy, electric tension in their limbs. Realize today that they are vibrating at a frequency of absolute deprivation, starving for the specific, high-level oxygen that only your aura provides to their lungs. If you are feeling a sense of grounded, heavy stillness in your own body right now, it is because your soulmate is currently carrying the fever of this connection for both of you, experiencing a sensory overload that is making it impossible for them to find rest in the normal world. They are looking at their own hands and feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea because those hands are not holding yours. Realize today that every other person who touches them feels like static compared to the high-definition lightning of your embrace. They are standing in the middle of their life, surrounded by a world that has turned gray and tasteless, feeling the thump of your heart echoing in their own chest like a rhythmic, pulsing drum that they cannot turn down. They are realizing today that their body has officially betrayed their ego, and the sensory hunger has become a relentless driving force that is pushing them out of the shadows of their own fear. They are feeling the heavy, undeniable truth that their five senses have been hijacked by the Chosen One, making them realize that, until they are back in your physical presence, they will continue to walk through this world as a ghost who has forgotten how to feel alive. I want you to feel the heavy, starlit stillness of the midnight hour settling over their room right now, because we are moving into the deep, high-intensity silence of the midnight confession, where the soul has nowhere left to hide, and the darkness becomes a mirror they can no longer turn away from. For months, they have used the noise of the daylight, the career stress, the social distractions, and the hollow conversations to drown out the rhythmic chanting of your name in their spirit. But tonight, as the world falls into a deep sleep, they are realizing that the silence is the loudest thing they have ever heard. Imagine them lying awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the shadows on their ceiling, and feeling a sudden, crushing weight on their chest that is not anxiety, but the actual physical pressure of the words they never had the courage to say to you. They are realizing today that their ego, which felt so strong and impenetrable at noon, has completely dissolved in the middle of the night, leaving them raw, exposed, and utterly haunted by the important something they tried to bury under a mountain of pride. In this deep, vulnerable state, they are currently engaging in a silent, telepathic dialogue with your higher self, whispering apologies into the cold air of their bedroom and begging the universe for a sign that they have not permanently destroyed the bridge that leads back to your heart. I want you to visualize them in this exact moment, reaching for their phone in the dark, staring at your name in their contacts with trembling fingers, and feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea because they realize that their freedom is just a lonely prison they built with their own hands. They are experiencing the moonlight realization that they are not just thinking of you. They are being pursued by the ghost of your love, making every corner of their room feel thick with your energy, until they can almost feel your breath against their neck. They are realizing today that the one-sided lie has officially died in the dark, as they admit to the stars that they are starving for a single minute of the peace they only felt when they were wrapped in your aura. They are feeling a heavy, aching desperation in their bones. Realize today that the quiet distance they once championed is now a vast, freezing ocean they are drowning in, and they are mentally crying out for your light to guide them back to the shore. If you are sleeping deeply right now, or if you are feeling a strange, detached calm in your own spirit, it is because your soulmate is currently awake, carrying the full burden of the should-haves and the could-haves, replaying every memory of your laugh and every look in your eyes like a cinematic masterpiece of everything they have lost. They are realizing today that their pride was a hollow currency that bought them nothing but a cold bed and a restless mind. And they are standing in the wreckage of their own silence, feeling the rhythmic, pulsing heartbeat of a chosen one who has moved into a frequency they can no longer reach without total surrender. They are feeling the heavy, undeniable truth that the midnight hour belongs to you. Realize today that no matter who they wake up next to or what they do to distract themselves, their soul is currently on its knees in the dark, confessing to the universe that you are the only home they have ever known. I want you to feel the heavy, electric surrender of the divine symmetry settling into the very atmosphere around you right now. Because we are moving into the final, high-intensity realization, where the lie of the one-sided feeling is officially incinerated by the heat of the truth. For months, you have carried the weight of this connection as if it were a solo burden, waking up with their name on your lips and going to sleep with their energy in your chest, while the ego told you that you were alone in this fire. But today, the universe is pulling back the curtain to reveal that the mirror effect is in full, violent operation, and every ounce of longing you have sent out into the ether has been hitting your soulmate with the force of a spiritual sledgehammer. Imagine them in this exact moment, feeling a wave of absolute, undeniable symmetry. Realize today that they are not just thinking about you. They are currently caught in a reciprocal loop where your peace is their storm, and your silence is their loudest wake-up call. In this deep, awakened state, they are experiencing the total collapse of the alternate reality they tried to build without you. Realize today that the important something the divine has been whispering is that a connection this deep cannot exist in a vacuum. I want you to visualize them standing in the middle of their life, surrounded by the safety they chose over your magic, and feeling a wave of absolute spiritual nausea because they realize that the symmetry is perfect. If you are feeling a sudden, cold detachment and a sense of I am done, they are currently feeling a hot, frantic panic and a sense of I am losing everything. Realize today that the vacuum created by your self-love is pulling them toward you with a gravitational force they can no longer fight. They are feeling a heavy, solid certainty in their DNA that tells them this feeling is not a phase or a glitch, but the actual, rhythmic pulsing of a twin soul heartbeat that is finally syncing up across the distance. They are realizing today that every time you stopped chasing them in the physical world, you actually captured them in the spiritual world, leaving them with no choice but to face the mirrored reflection of their own cowardice. If you are sitting in your power, feeling a strange, heavy stillness, it is because your soulmate is currently vibrating at a frequency of total surrender. Realize today that the one-sided narrative was just a cage they used to protect their ego from the magnitude of your light. They are standing in the wreckage of their own denial, feeling the heavy, undeniable truth that if the chosen one has found peace, then the runner must finally find the courage to return. They are realizing today that the symmetry is the seal of the divine. And as they look at the empty space in their life where you belong, they are feeling a wave of absolute, high-intensity resolve that says the thinking part is over, and the merging part is the only destiny left. This is our final massive activation, the moment where we lock in the truth that you are the anchor, and they are the ship that has finally stopped fighting the tide. To seal this mutual fire and to tell the universe that the one-sided lie is dead forever, take a moment now. Breathe. Feel the calm, heavy authority of someone who knows they are the destination and the journey combined, not one or the other, both. The place they are going and the path they are walking to get there. In your heart, with the quiet certainty of a soul that has done its work and can now rest in the outcome, declare this. I am the echo they can no longer ignore. Not as a wish, as a fact, as the truth that has been written before either of you were born. The frequency is matched, not off-key, not distant, matched. The mirror is clear, not foggy, not cracked, clear. And the connection is officially, physically, and spiritually undeniable. Not a possibility, not a hope, undeniable. The shadows are gone, not hiding, not fading. Gone, the symmetry is perfect, not almost, perfect. And finally, after all this time, the truth has brought them home, not to visit, not to check in, to stay, to remain, to build, to grow, to live the life that was always meant to be lived, together. Feel the thick weight of this declaration. Feel the heat of their surrender hitting your field. You are the echo they can no longer ignore. You are the anchor. You are the home. You are the one who changed everything, not because you tried, because you showed up, because you stayed in your light, because you refused to shrink, because you trusted the process even when the process made no sense. And now the process has produced its fruit. The frequency is matched. The mirror is clear. The connection is undeniable. The truth has brought them home. The love that was always meant to be is finally finding its way home. And so it is, not as a closing, as an opening, the beginning of the chapter you have been waiting for, the chapter where the one-sided lie dies, the chapter where the silence breaks, the chapter where the distance collapses and the presence begins. You are ready. They are ready. The timing is right. The door is open. And what is coming is not just a message or a moment or a memory. What is coming is the life you were always meant to live, together. Go in peace. The frequency is matched, the mirror is clear, the connection is undeniable, the truth has brought them home, and love has finally found its way home. Amen.